Today, we're going to discuss the Social Security Trust Fund. To help us explain this, we need 4 characters: the Social Security trustee, a Social Security beneficiary, someone currently collecting Social Security, an old taxpayer, and a new taxpayer. Plus, we have Uncle Sam representing the federal government. President Franklin D. Roosevelt began Social Security in 1935. It was a welfare program designed to pay workers over 65 a continuing income in retirement. In 1987, the Social Security Trust Fund started with a balance of $46.8 billion. This represents all the money that's ever been collected by Social Security versus all the money that has ever been taken out. $46.8 billion is a humongous number, so let's break it down into numbers that we can understand better. Here is our Social Security Trust Fund. Each cent represents $1 billion, so we have $47 billion in our trust fund. Over time, Uncle Sam has spent more than people have paid in income and other taxes. So Uncle Sam needs extra money to cover the government since he hasn't collected enough taxes. Where is he going to get that money? Uncle Sam raids the piggy bank and takes the excess cash out of the Social Security Trust Fund. Uncle Sam gives 23 cents, or $23 billion, to the Defense Department and the rest, or 24 cents, to the old taxpayer for goods and services that the old taxpayer received from the government. Uncle Sam, however, is not allowed to touch the counter on the trust fund. That is the job of the Social Security trustee. The trustee provides an annual report explaining how much money is in the trust fund. If we ask the trustee to produce their report right now, they would report that the trust fund has 47 cents, or $47 billion, but how much money is really in the trust fund? 0. Let's say it is a new year, so the old taxpayer will pay their taxes and give 40 cents to the Social Security Trust Fund. The trustee puts the 40 cents in the trust fund, and the counter goes up accordingly. Now, the trustee has to pay the beneficiaries, so she will take 10 cents out of the trust fund, give it to the beneficiaries, and reduce the counter by 10 cents. Uncle Sam continually needs more money to keep the government running. He still doesn't have enough, so he dips into the trust fund once again and takes the remaining money. Uncle Sam again gives half the money to the Defense Department and half to the old taxpayers. Let's have the Social Security trustee give another trustee's report. After looking at the counter, the trustee says there is 77 cents, or $77 billion in the trust fund. It is tax time again, and we get another 40 cents from the old taxpayers. The trustee adds the 40 cents to the trust fund and adjusts the counter. The trustee will again pay beneficiaries, but this time she'll pay 20 cents and deduct 20 cents from the counter. Of course, Uncle Sam still doesn't have enough money, so he borrows all the money from the trust fund again. If we ask the Social Security trustee to provide another report, she'll say the trust fund has 97 cents or $97 billion. Let's add another character to this scenario. A young taxpayer. Our young taxpayer just got their first job, and they're now paying Social Security taxes. The young taxpayer pays 30 cents into the trust fund, so the Social Security trustee adjusts the counter accordingly. The old taxpayer is now at the age where they can begin collecting Social Security, so they are now a Social Security beneficiary and are no longer paying taxes into the program. That means benefits have increased again because now the trustee has more beneficiaries to pay. The trustee needs 40 cents from the trust fund to pay the beneficiaries, but she only finds 30 cents in the fund. Where is she going to get the other 10 cents? Uncle Sam has been borrowing money like crazy, so he doesn't have extra money to give back to Social Security. He has to pay back at least the 10 cents to the trust fund. He goes to the new taxpayer and asks them for 10 more cents. The new taxpayer says, "Hold it. There's no money in the trust fund because you already used that to pay for goods and services and defense for the old taxpayer, so why should I give 10 more cents? That doesn't seem fair to the new taxpayer." Because Uncle Sam has the power to tax, he will probably win the argument and demand 10 more cents from the new taxpayer. Now, the Social Security trustee can pay the beneficiaries in full. Since 1987, the federal government has collected $26 trillion in Social Security taxes and paid out $24 trillion in benefits. The trust fund should have a total of $2 trillion, but we know there is no money in the trust fund. Yet the counter shows a balance. The Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, analyzes the president's budgetary policies every year. This report is from fiscal year 2021. They believe the trust fund is going to run out in 2037, meaning it will become insolvent. The CBO argues that solvency means keeping the trust fund from exhausting its balance and ensuring funds for future benefits. So what they're saying is, as long as the counter doesn't reach zero, even though there is no money left, Social Security can still fund benefits. Defining solvency this way, however, is not a meaningful measure of the government's ability to meet benefits. Because, as you know, there's no money in the trust fund, even though the counter has a number. It doesn't mean that the government has money to pay the benefits because there's really no money there. The United States federal government's financial statement states the law requires a particular fund to be accounted for separately and used only for those purposes to be designated as a trust fund. A change in law may change future receipts and the terms under which the fund's resources are spent. When you think of a trust fund, you probably picture one party holding and managing a separate fund for a trustee or beneficiary in fiduciary responsibility. Fiduciary responsibility, or fiduciary duty, is when someone acts in the best interests of another person or entity. That's not what the word trust fund means in the government. The only reason we have a Social Security trust fund is because that's what Congress decided to call it. It doesn't mean the government has any fiduciary responsibility to keep that money safe and hold it for future participants. The Congressional Budget Office also says that the federal government's trust fund balances, including Social Security, are not assets of the federal government because there's no money in there. Under current law, trust funds are just an accounting mechanism. The counter is established to link receipts. Here's all the money we ever collected versus how much we've ever paid out. David Walker, former Comptroller General, said it best. The Social Security Trust Fund is neither funded nor can it be trusted. At Truth in Accounting, our mission is to provide transparent government financial information to citizens, journalists, and taxpayers. We can only be knowledgeable participants in our government when we have all of the facts, so let's put an end to this myth that there is a Social Security trust fund.